Hello and welcome to the Subvert Podcast, your entry into the land of no easy answers, as we journey through the vagaries of the mind, attempting to unravel the mysteries of why our brains brain.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. It's the Subvert. As always, I'm Aaron Stewart, and my lovely co-host Kristen Rumor is here with me. Today we're talking some ick. We're gonna get icky, so icky it's gonna there's gonna be ick high and everywhere.
I don't know if I want to be here for this.
It was your topic, so I mean, I'm just running with it. I'm merely a
eggs flying all over.
Exactly. Right?
On that note, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of the ickiness. That'll get them.
Absolutely.
That's
that
what
always
everyone
gets
wants. Yeah. Anyways, today we are talking about modern dating. And we're actually going to be doing a series on this. This is as per request from a few of you guys, actually. So thank you for that.
Dating's a thing out there, I guess. People
shut up,
go on
guy
dates.
in long-term relationship that doesn't know what the
okay,
like
but you'll be the first one to I got no game. So I mean, it's I don't know if that's related to I just haven't been out in the game, having to keep these skills going, I guess. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, the game sucks. I think as most of you that are, currently in the cesspool that is the modern dating pool can probably agree. So today's topic is brought to us by one of our viewers, Rob, in England. Shout out to Rob. Thank you for your topic submission.
Or this might be all your fault. It's one of the other.
Yeah, exactly. If you want someone to blame, don't blame us. Yeah. Blame Rob. We'll include his contact info.
We were just innocent bystanders, just trying to do a show. And he lobbed a grenade at us, and we unfortunately just jumped on top of it. So,
as we do. We jump on a grenade for you too.
Absolutely. That kind of is the point of this whole thing, is finding out where the grenades are.
There's so many. They're everywhere.
All right, so moving on.
We are talking about a phenomenon called, I guess, the ick factor, for lack of better term.
No, I think that's probably
and that's exactly what this article labels it as. So we're going with it. Yeah. And it's that idea of, you start dating somebody new and everything's, going really well at first, and then something happens. Usually something very small, usually something superficial that makes you go, ugh. And that's it. You're done. Attraction immediately over. And this is something that arguably is happening, I think, with more frequency now in modern dating, with kind of, the advent of online dating and social media and everything else. We seem to be much faster to find the ick, almost like we're looking for it. Right? And culturally, it's become very normal to talk about the icks, particularly, with women, it's just, well, I can only say that because I am one. I don't know. Maybe dudes say the same thing when they're talking. How do I know? But we'll be sitting around chatting about the date we went on. It's like, oh, and then he chewed with his mouth open, and everyone goes,
oh,
ugh.
Yeah, no,
right?
No,
deal breaker.
Yeah.
Everyone backs you up on it. And it's something just that small. This could be the greatest person of all time. You could be compatible in every single way.
And it could be, let alone be somebody that could be just like, hey, could you close your mouth? And be like, oh, shit, I'm so sorry. Right?
Yeah. We're not giving that opportunity.
I was just off of my own head there. Sorry.
But I think it's because there's such, it seems like there's endless options now, right? That's what happens when you get into online dating. It's like, well, the next one's literally one swipe away.
Swipe.
So you can be much faster to just discard things for absolute nonsense reasons, realistically. But
I mean, chewing with your mouth open, that's a reasonable reason to, right? I mean,
oh man, we all do it. I'm actually a really messy eater. Is that why I'm single? Oh no! This episode wasn't going to be about confronting my own.
Oh, this is about my age?
Oh shit!
Oh, darn it!
Oh no! Ignore that, viewers. I'm perfect.
Yeah. And here's a parade of Kristen's exes to explain the. Oh my god! Yeah, and that's. I think it might. It's got to be some sort of symptom of the Tinder thing, and just like you said, the accessibility to be able to just be like, no, I don't like you, move And I think that kind of plays out in a lot of our friendships nowadays too, where it's just so
Yes.
hard to just, people just being flaky and kind of unaccountable for a lot of stuff, where you can just kind of, not show up.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that on a separate topic, I think, in this series, because that deserves its own conversation. There's so much about modern dating that's just
The ongoing dating saga.
yeah. I mean, there's so much to actually like dissect here that
Lots to unpack.
absolutely. So we'll stick with
Yeah.
let's really get into why this has become common.
Why so icky?
Why is everyone so icky now?
Ugly,
Why are you
man.
so quick to ick?
As if we're not all carrying our own ick.
Well, and that's it, right? Like, because again, if it's all social media related, it's all about presenting yourself as the best version possible, right? And everyone's just perfect in every way. And, we're all so accomplished and, so there's no room to actually just have the humanness in there, it seems. What is happening?
I was just being that guy. Hey.
Perfect. You should be so lucky.
Exactly, right?
But, if we're all so busy trying to portray ourselves as this, perfect thing, and we're also in our own heads about what other people perceive us as, that it doesn't really leave much wiggle room for someone else with all of the flaws that come along with them, because they're just a human being, as are you, and they just can't really adapt to it. It's, I don't know, I'm trying to explain it the best way I can, but it seems almost more like dating now is trying to have an accessory. It's like shopping for an accessory as opposed to shopping for a partner. It's how can this complement me and my image? How does this person make me look? Right? And I guess maybe that's where the ick thing comes in of, that person's chewing with their mouth open. Oh God, that's embarrassing. What must people think of me if I'm on a date with someone that chews with their mouth open?
So people are essentially adding an Instagram filter to their relationships.
That summed it up very nicely. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was stumbling on that idea for so long, and you
they're just basically adding a filter onto it that allows them to have this picture perfect thing that they want to portray to everybody without actually having to deal with any of the extra shit behind it that actually kind of makes the relationship what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like that's my thing about relationships. I always say a relationship isn't about the good times, right? A relationship is about how you deal with the bad times.
Yeah.
Right? Good times will happen if you like. I would assume that you'll both enjoy the good times, right? But if the bad times cause you to lose faith in, shoot each other down, become this thing that isn't cohesive anymore, then that's the problem, right? And how do you deal with that? How do you make these problems into something that builds you together instead of tearing everything apart? And that ick factor of just that, right, makes it really tough to be able to work past that, right? Like, oh, all you had to say was you had my mouth open, whatever, just shut the fucking right, like, But instead of even giving people that moment of grace to be just like, hey, I would hope that if I were doing that, someone would at least say to me, hey, could you just no? All right, I'll move on then, right? But just without even giving each other that kind of grace. I mean, and I get there's a lot of people out there. You can just move on to the next person and hope that they'll give you some grace.
Yeah. Well, like the supply isn't endless, like there are only so many people, and if that's the mindset you're taking with you into it, then eventually you're just going to run out.
Well, and that is the question. Then who is good enough at that point, right? Like that's if you have this very narrow list of who's acceptable. And realistically, I mean, a relationship's mostly just putting up with the other person's crazy. If you can deal with their crazy and they can deal with your crazy, hey, good relationship. Right? Like, that's most of what this is acknowledging that you're going to have to deal with my flaws and I'm going to have to deal with yours. And hopefully there's something that I'm willing to deal with, because otherwise this isn't going to work. Right?
But if we're all just identifying with our social media ego selves, then that's never going to be good enough. No one will ever be good enough to complement that picture perfect way that you're trying to get everyone else to see you. Mm-hmm. And if that is, you've made that your top priority, for yourself and for a partnership, well, like, no wonder we have these just egotistical, narcissistic, partnerships all the time. No wonder that word is thrown around so much, right? Oh, it's a narcissist. We're all kind of fucking narcissists if that's it. If that's what you've attached your ideal importance to.
And there's levels to it, right? I mean, you don't want full narcissist, no, right? But, you know, at some point, we all kind of have to be selfish and think about ourselves. And that's, right? Our well-being, unfortunately, is the only thing that I can really be assured of having any control over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't assume that anything that I do for you is going to be, taken the way that I mean it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could be just assuming that I'm not trying to help here and that what I'm doing is, working against you just as easily as you could. It's working for you.
Yeah.
So this is where it becomes a trust thing, which I think is kind of also the problem that we're having lately. Is just this definitive lack of trust in each other that, you can say something to them and they'll go, "Oh, I'm so sorry," as opposed to "fuck you, that's who I am."
Yeah.
Right? And that becomes a real issue moving forward in that, why would I try to point out your flaws if I can expect a 50-50 chance of getting a "fuck you"?
Yeah.
Right?
That is a solid point. You can't have conversations about these little things, these little ick factors, without being met with that, right? And that's the conditioned response now. That's our cultural response. It's okay to just drop a person and label them as the wrongdoer,
Mm-hmm.
That's much easier to do, for sure. Is it healthier? Probably not.
And just think about the knock-on ramifications of these things, right? Like, the more we reject people, right, the more you're going to feel rejected, right? And so how does that make a person feel after you've and you're putting your best self out? I put on my nice shirt, nicer shirt. It's I washed it.
Thank God.
I sort of did something with the hair, I mean, and the idea that this isn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Well, it's not. It's that feeling of, and again, this is just my own personal experience, is not being seen as a human being so much. Right? And that sounds really harsh, but that's my kind of take on what modern dating is. Again, it's all of the decorative stuff that isn't who you are at all is being held up as the most important thing. And you, as a flawed human being, is secondary to all of that. Not only secondary, kind of just ick. It's not okay to be this. And it's really sad. And this is why I think we have such a broken society right now, because it can't just be me that feels like this. Please comment and let me know if you've, have similar feelings ever. And this isn't even just in dating. This is, I think, just going through life.
Yeah, it does seem to be a general thing right now where it's just, the ability to, and I think a lot of it comes down to our ability now to be able to make enemies out of people.
Yeah.
Whereas before, it used to be something where even if you were on the other side of the political spectrum, you could at least still assume that was some sort of human being you were talking to, instead of someone who's looking at you like you're Satan and the most evil pedophile, right? Grooming and all these, like, whoa, what the fuck is, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you don't even see them as like you said, a human being anymore. You just see them as this thing that you hate.
Yeah.
And it reduces the, completely just sucks all of the ability to be able to move forward with any of this stuff, because why would you if you're too evil to even understand? No matter what I say to you, you're not going to grasp it. You're just too evil. You're too set in your evilness to be able to even understand what I'm saying. So why would I bother?
Yeah.
You're too set and you're chewing with your mouth full. That's evil.
Yeah. Well, and it's making assumptions, right? So these little things that we can then stick a label on the person and go, oh, you chew with your mouthful, therefore you must be this.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Ick. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's, again, like political ideologies, whatever it is that you have now reduced that person to a set of characteristics that probably doesn't even represent them.
No.
Right? You've just disregarded a person based off of the decoration.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very disheartening and very sad and very difficult to work through that.
Yeah.
And so everyone kind of overcompensates then with like, okay, well, I need more decoration. Okay, like, I'm not good enough just existing, right? So I need more, right? If it's all about the bells and whistles and this and that, and and so you're just kind of left feeling very empty. And I think that diminishes our capacity to actually think about others, because you get so self-involved with making sure that you appear a certain way, and you're like, you don't want to offend this person, you need to, that you just literally can't think about, okay, this is now another human being. And especially in, we're talking about dating, so in a partnership type scenario, a partnership, you need to be able to build something together, right? I mean, you're absolutely your own individual people, but you have to be willing to say, okay, this is now our life, and to do that, you have to actually see them as another human. And what we've done is just create.
If that's what you're looking for.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe not everyone. That's cool. But if you just have two egotistical human beings that are so, distracted by what they look like and what the other person makes them look like, and then you're not really doing that. You're not building a life together. You're just building separate lives and, using each other for the convenience of it.
Well, and this is where, like, the social media thing being, you're always trying to put your best picture forward.
Yeah.
Right. And just, that filter, right? Just trying to take all of these things that would be construed as negative, despite that being kind of what makes you who you are.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's not the perfectness of you that's who you are. It's kind of the flaws, right? That define who you are, what you're good at, what you're not good at.
Yeah.
Right? And just to, strip away all of everything else to just, like, bear the flaws, without any, all the other good things that you do, right? All the volunteering, all the, like, you could be Mother Teresa, right? But if you chew with your mouth full, I mean, right? And that's kind of the issue that we have now, where again, it's just so easy to be able to disregard, deny, shut down, cut out, move on, get to, and the problem there is that part of our brain's atrophying now.
Yeah.
Where now when we're called upon to be able to find that empathy, find that, altruism, try to find that, no, I just need to do what's best for everyone now. If that muscle hasn't been flexed, if that part of your brain has just been shut off, where do you find it? How do you build that up? How do you find that giving a fuck about other people if you spend all this time learning how to shut them out?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's end it there. I think that's.
Well, we kind of needed to get
We'll be
into the
expecting your
second
answers
part
on the comments, where you will tell us the easy answer to this. In the land of no easy answers, the easy answer to how do we get past the ick, and how do we find what would be the opposite of ick? Yeah, that's great. Actually, let's just find the that pleasant surprise, right? Like, that's actually, there we go. That disgusting turn off, or the pleasant surprise. Oh, maybe you weren't as bad as I thought. Maybe you weren't quite as icky as I thought you were. Oh,
the scraps of food falling out of your mouth are really quite attractive.
Oh, you mean all you had to do is just shave that beard off and you don't look homeless anymore? What? Oh, and if you just take that stupid hair off, you would look, right? As if it was all just trappings that I put on my face in order to present that.
You fundamentally changed who you are, though.
Well, this is the funny part, right? Like, is that a lot of times that seems to be what people get from it because I do that all the time, where I hack this off and people are just like, oh, who are you now?
Oh, you're a different person. You're like, oh, I'm still me, but okay.
Well, and I mean, to an extent, I do try to, use these as a cathartic, right? Like, okay, who am I going to be now, right? And try to, look at myself and really be like, all right, so who's this guy, right? Like, who's this? Right? Like, and internally, do I get to make these changes, find parts of me that I didn't really, what can I trim off here and, hack off of here, But that, I think, gets to my own ick, the parts of me that I find ick, and that I think comes to another part of this, right? Also is like that rejection, like rejection sensitivity. It's a bitch, right? So, it's one of those things where it's not just ick about you chewing with your mouth. It's the whole of you. And that's where this becomes really, something that we really need to start nipping in the bud,
Mhm.
right? Because if you can take that one little bit and make them evil, where do you go? Where
Yeah.
do you go from there, right? Like how do you claw your way back from evil? Like where do you go from there? How do you manage to find anything other than, like, guess I'm fucked, right? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we did have, there's kind of the second part to this article that we needed to get into as well.
Ooh.
Our preamble lasted a while there.
Oh my.
But it was the sexist factor, or the potential sexist factor of the ick. And
Ooh.
culturally how it is still more acceptable for women to kind of have the ick factor. But if men, have the ick about something that is superficial, it's labeled as sexist or misogynistic. This was why the article was sent to us.
Right.
Yeah, this is not the easy answer.
Oh my goodness. We haven't even gotten to the actual episode yet. So come in next time for the actual episode that we were... Yeah.
But yes, I think we will get into it next episode because, there is a lot more to kind of unpack there. We needed one whole episode just to talk about icks. And then...
Just to warm up into the icks, right? Like just to present a tiny little ick, be like, see that little ick, so cute,
oh, that
cute little ick. And then all you see behind me is that looming gigantic ick just over my head here, just and I'm going, look at the cute little, and you're going, oh no, hey Aaron, look behind you.
Oh
like,
my god, the ick is about to squish us all.
With that. He's a cute little ick, isn't he? Oh, he's drooling on me. Oh.
Anyways, join us next episode where we get further into this like shithole that is modern dating and try to unpack a little bit more as to why we do these things. And let's get into, a little bit of sexism. Woo! Everyone's favorite topic.
Yeah, so send us your ick. What have you found icky before? Do you have things in
Send him your ick.
And so okay, well, how about on the flip side of that? Send us your
There we go.
Your,
I'll take the
Yeah, the pleasant surprises. Send us those, right? We'll take, or maybe a bit of both, right? Like the offset, right? It's balanced, right? So send us some ick with a little bit of pleasant surprise, right? Or the time that you thought it was an ick, but it turned out to be a pleasant surprise. How about that one?
Hey, that's a good one.
Yeah. Or the other way around. Pleasant surprise that turned into an ick.
Yeah. But tell us your stories and tell
Absolutely.
us, have you dealt with this particular thing? Has this been the reason you've walked away from potential relationships? Has this been something you've been able to work through and has it been able to bring you closer together? These are all the stories we want to hear and need to hear more of for sure. So please go ahead, comment, do it right now. That'd be great. Thanks. Make sure to like the video, share the video, follow everything, click here, click there, yay. Let's end this episode now because we've been rambling for a while about it.
Isn't that every episode? That's why you're here, isn't it? We ramble, and sometimes there's a point. For the most part, it's I don't know, easy answers.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Have the best one.
Bye.